Another thing that separates me from everybody else is I think my ability to just take every situation and use it as an opportunity, man. Like, just, why sit there and complain? Look at it as like, you know what, man, why am I going to sit there and complain about life? It's life. Just take it as an opportunity and use it to your benefit and smile, right? There's no reason to sit there and complain and blame others, right? There's no point, because that's a lot of energy. I'm learning, I've learned and still learning that you spend more energy complaining, blaming others, and worrying about what others doing versus being smiling, seizing the opportunity, right? And becoming happy. I don't spend a lot of energy being happy. I don't spend a lot of energy finding opportunities, because that's where everything about me lies. Because that's why I always constantly say, you know what? I'm better off just being happy instead of spending time being mad and grumpy. Who wants to be grumpy? I don't want to be no grumpy person. Listen, I'm 43 years old. I don't want to be 83 grumpy. I don't want to be no grumpy old man. I don't. I want to be fulfilled. I want to be happy. I don't want to be worried about nobody else, right? I want to be that grandpa that chill grandpa that just have fun. That's the type of grandpa I want to be, not the grumpy one. Nope, that's not me. And I'm gonna be studying some the stages of life from babies to geriatrics, and find out what is going on. What makes a person grumpy? What makes a person develop that type of behavior, right? Because I don't get it. I guess because my personality is just not developed that way to be grumpy and complain. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So I am learning to just be happy, accept the things for what they are, and just keep moving, man. Just keep moving, right? And maybe a lot of my changes came when I was in the military, because I saw the world, right? And I saw the world for what it really is. And I said, wow, I was really shell shocked, and the world it's a great place, man. The world is a great place. I traveled this entire world, everywhere, and I was like, man, this is a beautiful world, man. And it was a big reality for me. It was an eye opener, and I think that just changed my whole perspective. I think, and it was like, man, if people could just see what I see, maybe they'll change their whole perspective and not be so grumpy, and take the time out to just work on themselves. Maybe you won't be so grumpy, and smile, But I guess I'm just different. I'm just molded differently to take advantage, and maybe it starts again with the foundation of my imagination that I talked about already. It's just everything. Have you ever come in contact with a person that no matter what goes on, it can be the most positive thing, be a man or a woman, no matter what happens, they just complain, they just have something negative to complain about, and it just turned ugly and just mean, just sad and negative and just mean and ugly and bitter and sad and ugly and just mean and sad and just ugly and bitter and just mean and sad and ugly and bitter and it's just ugly and just sad and bitter. You know those people? They call them grumpy people. Grumpy people. And the thing about grumpiness, there's a myth about grumpiness. Grumpiness is related to old people. That's just a myth. What I learned is grumpiness can happen to anyone, man or woman, at any stage of our lives, okay? So you can be a young adult, you can be a mid-adult, and grumpiness can still affect you, okay? So there's no specific age. It's just a myth that it's related to older adults, but that's not true. And what is grumpy people? Grumpy people describe someone who is always irritable, bad-tempered, or sulky. Grumpy people are often irritable, bad-tempered, grouchy, miserable, and gentle negative. And if you know people like that, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And they become a headache and they become chronic pain, right? Because it's like they constantly talk about the same stuff. And it's like you get to that point where you're like, man, I'm tired of hearing this. Like, when do we get over this? When can we move on? And that's just the grumpiness. It's just the grumpiness showing themselves. So I'm going to explain to you guys some factors of why people become grumpy and how we can deal with grumpy people. People become grumpy due to treated and untreated physical and mental health conditions. But the worst are for the ones that are untreated, right? Poor lifestyle choices and past experiences. And what I mean by that is people who are still stuck in the past. Some physical factors: lack of sleep, hunger, pain and discomfort, and untreated medical conditions. Mental and emotional factors: you have stress, mental health conditions, and past experiences. Lifestyle choices: you have substance abuse, excessive caffeine. Other considerations: age. When I say age, I'm talking about declining health and changing in your neurotransmitters in your brain, which means your neurotransmitters in your brain are declining, they're shortening due to your age. And that does happen, okay? That's just something we cannot control. That does happen as we age. Individual temperaments and grief and loss that can happen in your life. Some individuals may exhibit grumpiness early in life, like I said, due to stress, sleep deprivation, or feeling unwell, while others may experience it later due to hormonal changes, health declines, or feeling left behind by societal changes, okay? So the changes that are happening, that can affect someone's grumpiness, and then they allow them to increase their grumpiness and they become more irritable, right? And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people, right? They become so grumpy because the changes are happening and happening, and just can't keep up, and they feel that they're going to be left behind. And the thing is, you don't have to be left behind. You can still be there. You just have to just ask the questions, right? Ask the questions, and you can be part of it. So what's the solution, right? What's the solution to this grumpiness? Okay, you stay calm, listen empathetically, give space, set your boundaries, seek professional help, and look after yourself. And what I mean by that, by staying calm, is when you're dealing with a grumpy person, you already know their emotions are already high. They're already performing at a high level. You don't want to match that mood. You want to just stay as calm as possible. Let them do all the emotional stuff. Let them be the aggressors. Just you stay calm. And just what I do, I just look at them. And just, you want to act like that, that's on you. But don't match their mood. Listen empathetically, all right? If they are willing to talk, some of them, they don't want to talk, they just want to express, and that's fine, just let them express. But if they're willing to talk, try to understand their perspective. And you do that by, when they're telling you stuff, ask them questions through active listening. Okay, so say stuff like, so what you mean by this is that, oh, so help me understand this. Is this what you meant by this? Okay, that's listening. You're doing active listening and listening empathetically. You want to give space, all right? And I mean giving space to them. And that's okay. You want to give them the space so they can process their own emotions, all right? You cannot cure their emotions. You cannot do nothing about their own emotions. They're going to have to process this themselves. And sometimes you're going to have to say, I'm going to walk away from this situation while you deal with this on your own. You're going to argue by yourself. That's fine. Argue by yourself. I'm just going to walk away because I'm not going to sit there and match you. And sometimes you have to let them do that. And that works. When once they realize that they're by themselves, they're going to start processing their own emotions, and then the situation will calm itself naturally. Set boundaries. You want to be able to set boundaries for yourself. If the grumpiness affects your well-being, set boundaries in an assertive way. What I mean by that, you say, hey, I'm going to give you 5 more minutes or 2 more minutes to say what you're going to say, and then I'm done. We're done talking about this. We're going to move on to something else. Seek professional help if it comes too aggressive, or encourage them to seek help. That's if their grumpiness is untreated, right? You want to be able to say, look, I think you should be seeking medical attention for this stuff, because you need to seek a therapist, because right now, where you are right now, there's nothing I can do. Listening is not helping you. I think you're going to need therapy. You're going to need be institutionalized. You're going to need that type of attention in order to get to where you need to be. And then the last thing is look after yourself. Take care of yourself. Keep your own emotions intact, even if that means you have to seek professional help. And I'm saying that because, hey, even for me, I'm calm, I'm collective, but guess what? I got all kind of mental stuff going up here too. And if it gets too much for me, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to see my doctors, because I know they're the only ones that can cure me when I get out of hand. So that's how you deal with grumpiness. And they're out there, they're surrounded, and the thing is, they're just looking for help. And they don't know how to ask for help, right? They just know how to complain. They just know how to speak out, but they don't know how to ask for help, because asking for help is like a weakness. And intelligent people, we know that's not a weakness. But to a grumpy person, that's a weakness to them. And we have to show them and teach them, no, that's not a weakness. That's actually a strength to get help. That's a strength to be able to share your emotions.